Talked about the way this team's continued to battle. What's it mean to you to see them do what they did today?
I think as a coach, whenever you're not meeting whatever the world's expectations are, and just see them continue to fight. Instead of words, I'll just use a play. I thought in the 8th inning when Will Cannon, the pitcher, sprinted. I remember seeing Butch Thompson do that in a regional down at Tallahassee, and I'm like, that kid's that's a big leaguer right there. I had that moment today because we went 2-2 this week, and that's the hardest 2-2 in 1 week I've ever been a part of, with the 3 1-run games and I think a 2-run game today. But and when you are having some challenges, that's all a coach can ask for, and that's exactly where we were trying to be today. Is you just keep giving me effort and you keep doing that, and I love that in the 8th inning, seeing that. Led by Will and Ike, sprinted after that ball. The week started with the first batter of the game on Tuesday of a pop-up between catcher and first base we didn't get, and we talked about the pitchers got to get involved and we all got to keep flying around, and to see that on a Game 3 of an SEC series, I think explains it better than what I'm talking about. And we got to do that for 2 more months, so we're going to keep our head down for 2 more months regardless of outcome, and see if we can just keep fighting. I think that's the biggest job that I have before me as the head coach.
Brian?
Butch, you talked a couple of times about wanting that big inning from your offense. Yeah. You got it today with Cooper and that big shot he hit.
And Cooper's had a tough one. Again, it's more like I've just seen it before. I've seen us be able to bang the ball and have big innings, and I think that is part of our deal. And definitely in this league, you got to put a big one out there every now and then if you want to win some games in this league. And it wound up being a 6th spot. And if you really think about how good Cooper's been, and then this week's been a little more challenging for him, not to just wait for a new week, but to step in. You could tell it in his first at bat and just how he was taking pitches today. He was amazing, and then it's amazing how that can link our lineup back up again. But he had some really good at bats. I hated him getting rung up there in the end. I thought he was having another great at bat right there at the very end. So he's a leader for us to do what we want to do, to get back in this thing. And look up. I just gave them simple math, and I'm like, let's don't play the result game. Just keep giving me good effort. But at the end of the day, is this team good enough to go 14-10 over 2 months in this league? And that's kind of where the simple math is, because that's how you control your own destiny in this league where you're at. But really, they got an off day tomorrow and come back out here and run some straight lines and work good and get ready for another great week, because it's not like we're falling off the cliff. I think we went from 2 to 1 and probably go to 3, number 3 here for this Easter week coming up. So that's all part of what's so exciting about playing in this league.
Hey, Coach, can you talk about the crowd that was on hand today, just how special that was?
Yeah, I think it's, from a counting standpoint, like the biggest crowd we've ever had. And I can't tell you what that means to me personally, because of I just see them. We were disappointed. You want to get off to such a good start, because I've advertised all off season and leading into this season how much I respect every person on the staff and how these players have done a good job, and how they've worked even on the off days when it hadn't been requirements, how they've continued to do a good job. So, I hadn't been upset at anybody, and we had some weather and stuff last night, and I'm like, I don't want these people to leave these guys. This is a group of guys that have done everything that we've asked them to do in the right way. And for you to just come back out the next day being 0-2 down in a series at home and have more fans than you've ever had in the park's history show up is pretty moving. So I appreciate you bringing that up. And for me personally, that's a big deal. And hopefully, I know it does. I know it means a lot to these players when their back's against the wall. That's Auburn. That's the best version of us when we got that, and they were huge to some momentum in the ballpark today.
Jake. Coach, can you just talk a little bit about Gonzo's performance, now his second SEC start this year?
Yeah, probably similar to last week. I thought the last 2 were getting a little bit better. Really in between swings the first time through the lineup, midway through the second time through the lineup. Got out for the 4th inning, the ball just got up in the air. The home run, 3-run homers are part of our league, and then I even thought a couple balls we run down. I thought he went from in between to chop to the sink and everything that we having his setup to get in the air a little bit. Maynard's had to scramble and catch one. Bobby, the 3-run homer, and then I think he's trending and competitive, doing good. He had a couple hit batters, but to me, when the ball got in the air is when, honestly, you get down 3 and then ultimately 4 to the #1 team in America. I'm like, I called it. I'm like, that's enough. So I didn't. He could have straightened it out and got back a couple more innings, but we didn't think we could let him score anymore because we hadn't been playing great offense. At that point there, taking him out with 4 runs, our 1 hit, I do believe, was a push bunt. I think that was our 1 hit was a bunt, and been a little sluggish this week, and we needed to try to get some different momentum there. But I think the last 2 have been okay. There's one more step. I think I saw a couple of 92s today. I'm seeing a little bit of that. So, but you know, this isn't spring training anymore. And we felt like we couldn't let them score anymore. Of course they did, but it was good that our offense clicked in, and Cannon did a nice job for us there. And Carlson's done a good job every time he's taken the ball pretty much this year, and I'm excited to see his growth and being able to get to the finish line there. Because as soon as we made it 7-5, we had a 6 spot. They just kept answering us all weekend if we ever did score a run. So it held up because those guys are throwing good. But Joseph's doing well, and I think there's another gear or 2 left, and him getting, for me and you talking about him throwing his best baseball.
Right.
Coach, you mentioned, but down 4-0 to the #1 team in the country. You lost the previous 2 games by 1 run. What kind of fight did your team show? What kind of mental toughness did they show today?
Yeah, it's been pretty consistent. I think I've gotten it, especially I thought the pitching over 4 games, if we can be that consistent. And I know you're going to have some days, but if you can get consistency on the mound, you got a chance to win every time you show up to the ballpark, or regardless who you play. So that's a huge piece. I think our offense was slowed up. I think the biggest reason why we dropped the first 2 games, because, I mean, again, you can't play that game, but that's a series that could have been won with just a little bit more, not moving mountains. A series that we could have swept and got a sweep. But our at-bats were just tough, and because I see so much effort with them running around and doing things, that I just feel like they're just trying so hard they squeeze the juice out of the bat, and they just got to relax and have it bats. And you know, we've had a tough game, but you know, we were 10 games over 500 heading into Vanderbilt, and had won a lot of games and really hadn't played a lot of close games. Maybe that Virginia game down at Jacksonville. So we better have learned something this week from playing close, tight games and adjustments that we need to make to start, you know, not being behind on those, hopefully, and getting our share of those games. So this week needs to go a long way for us to grow, and that's why I just stopped short of the result thing. Of course, we have to win, but these guys got to figure out what they can take from this week and apply, and keep giving us that good effort. You know, the league will drag it out of you, but we were ready to play today. And even when we got down, you know, you knew you were going to have to play offense today, but you know, they at least got to the point where they hooked it up and had a good look in their eye.